all members and participants of this important webinar. Today, we are analyzing the situation of exclusion from education of different important groups, peoples in our region, in Latin America and the Caribbean. And it is no surprise to confirm that indigenous peoples are among the groups that are more excluded. Indigenous persons are the ones that are facing discrimination in education. And this, as I mentioned, is no surprise because education is an important component of colonization. And if education is not decolonized, we will continue experiences this type of discrimination. But I would like to mention that there are important examples in our region where indigenous peoples are facing through their own self-determined solutions the discrimination in education. And the first example is in a tiny country in our region, in El Salvador, a country that in 1932 faced a massive genocide of indigenous peoples, but they were able to survive. And one example is Juliana Ama de Chile. She is the granddaughter of some of those leaders that were massacred in 1932. And she grew up looking at her mother being discriminated because she spoke her language, hiding in a clandestine way in her village. And she decided that she was going to be a teacher and teach her Nahuatl language. Juliana was able to graduate as a teacher, and together with other members of her community, they learned their language. And they were able to teach that language in a school when she was the director. And now she, together with members of the University of Don Bosco, they are teaching other members of the community their Nahuatl language. And there are more than 3,000 students that are now learning their language, but also learning important aspects of their culture. The other positive experience I would like to share is the Intercultural Indigenous University that is housed in FILAC, in the Fund for Development of Indigenous Peoples of Latin America and the Caribbean. And this university, that is a virtual university, has tried to develop a program that brings different knowledge systems together to educate indigenous leaders. There are almost 3,000 indigenous leaders that went through the different courses of the university. Of these, half of them are women, and it involves a network of universities in Latin America, in Spain, and also it involves indigenous organizations. One important aspect of the Universidad Indígena Intercultural is the aspect of the language. And now the university is trying to develop an institution to really support the revitalization of indigenous language in the region facing the decade. In my region, I'm from Nicaragua, we have an autonomy law, And the autonomy law recognizes our right to our own education. So we have been able to develop our own system of intercultural autonomous education. We have our own universities, community universities that have graduated more than 20,000 students in different areas in the last 5 years and in the last 25 years. And we have also been able to develop our own curriculum and bilingual intercultural education that combine with different programs from the state ensure that the students can maintain themselves in the education system so they can go into technical or university education once they finish high school. These are some of the experiences in Latin America, experiences that are being promoted by indigenous peoples themselves. And what we have been able to identify is that if there's an involvement of indigenous leadership in the definition of the curriculum, if we respect the bilingual education and their language, and there's a dialogue between knowledge system, we have better result of education system. This is what we need member states to promote in each one of the countries in our region if we want to face exclusion and guarantee inclusion of indigenous peoples.